This is a day I've been waiting for a long time to actually film some of the history here of the museum. We've got 4 generations of Steiger women with Amber, Christy, and her mother and grandmother actually worked here at the museum. And this is her dad, Ross Steiger, how old are you, Ross?
Oh boy, 75.
Ross is 75. You look damn good for 75. So, and Ross had worked here for many years. We're going to go over his history here at the museum.
Here in the mills,
right here in the mill. We're the home of the New England Motorcycle Museum. We don't know a lot about the history of the mill, so it's awesome to have a guy like Ross come here. Ross was just telling me the showroom we're in right now used to be the paint shop for a company he owned. Go ahead, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the name of it was Styland, and we do some kind of paint work, spray painting, and all different types of products we'd paint and so on. So we basically had this here, I guess it was about 6 or 7 years we had it.
What years were you here?
That was, let's see, mid-60s to the early 70s we were here.
So almost 50 years ago,
Yeah.
actually over 50 years ago, Ross was here with his company. At the time, the building was only about 50 years old because this was built in 1910, we estimate. So
the concrete building.
this building we're in right now,
Right.
that was his paint shop for his company, which was a subcontractor for the company that was in that building. Ironically, Ross actually worked full-time for that company and ran his painting business part-time here. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So what was the name of the company that was
The
in
name
the
of
big
the company
building?
next door was Contramatics in the cement building. We had all 4 floors over there. Bottom floor was machine shop. Second floor was basically the assembly. Third floor, fourth floor were all warehousing. And the main wooden building out in front was the office area.
So that's about 40,000 square foot that you had, and that's a big company. What did you do?
We manufactured valves. A lot of the valves we manufactured for the military. And going back in history, I don't know if you remember, but the Thresher submarine that sank, the
Yes.
first submarine that sank, they found out that valves had created that. So we were the first company to come up with a sub-safe valve, and we manufactured valves for the subs in the future.
So what years was Contramatics?
We were
in that
there
building?
from mid-60s up until probably the mid-70s. And then we outgrew the building and we moved to East Hartford.
So you moved out in the 70s. I believe the
70s.
building's been largely vacant since then, based on
Yeah,
what
I
I've
believe
heard.
it has. I don't think anybody moved in after we moved out of there.
I don't think anybody did any real repairs there either for many, many years, because you can see it's been in abandoned condition for many years. Christy, what years was your company there?
Campus Wear was in there in the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, so you moved out in the 90s, so that was the last
Yeah, 90
working company that was in
Yeah,
there, right?
95, 96, it was over there, and I think we moved, I left there in 2001.
So they moved out of that building in 96,
I'm thinking 2001.
2001, so it wasn't that long ago, actually. It's
Yeah.
hard to imagine they worked in that building because the windows were all falling out of it and everything,
Oh,
but.
it was not much different than it is now.
Wow. So, and I believe your great-grandmother, your grandmother, or your great-grandmother, Amber.
Yes.
This is, Christy is Amber's mom, and your great-grandmother and your grandmother worked here. What did she do? That was back when it was a loom. They made suits for the U.S. Army and
Yeah,
stuff, right?
Dad can
that
tell
was
you
my
more.
mother that
That
worked
was
here.
Dad's
So your mother worked
Right,
here.
and she actually used to, the yards of cloth, as they made them, every once in a while would have a hole or something that used to get in there from the machinery or something. It was her job to mend them clothes.
Okay.
So she would mend that all together and weave it back together. And she worked here up until it closed, I think was probably in the 50s.
Wow. Yeah, 1954 is the year it went out
Yeah,
of business.
yeah.
That I do know because I have a newspaper article downstairs. So where did you get your I know where she got her work ethic from, obviously, because you.
When I was a kid, I had 2 brothers, and during the summertime, I used to tell this story to her.
Yeah.
One day, we decided that we were going to try to make some money in the summer. My mother was working here at the time. My 2 older brothers supposed to be taking care of me. I was the youngest one. With a couple other neighborhood kids, we decided we were going to make lemonade and take it up to the mill here and sell it.
Because there are hundreds of people working here,
Hundreds
right?
of people working, right. So we had got these big jugs and we made lemonade. We went to the store and bought lemons and everything. Made all these gallons and gallons of lemonade, and we came up here at noontime in the middle of the hot summer. We stood out in front and we sold out. And one of the guys had gone and told my mother, you know, your kids are out there selling lemonade.
That's awesome.
So that was the story. After that, we didn't sell it anymore. After my mother came home that night and found there was sugar and lemon juice all over the floor and everything, that was the end of that. But
So your mom worked here, your grandmother worked here, and it's been, how many years since you've been in the mill? What was the year that you left?
well, we moved out of here, Contramax moved out of here in the mid-'70s.
So 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's take a walk through and see
Sure.
if
Yeah.
you recognize it. This is now the retail offices and sales showroom for the New England Motorcycle Museum and Kaplan Cycles. So we just came in this door right here. We're going to go across the bridge
Yeah.
into the third floor of the main white building.
Okay.
So we're going to be, for you folks watching this on YouTube, we're going to be on the third floor. There's obviously a fourth, second, first, and the far end of the
Right.
building has 5 levels. It has a full basement. So this bridge was added in October of 1931. And it was formerly enclosed, but the fire marshal suggested we open it up to make it less of a fire conduit. So now it's open to elements, which is not good for the wood floor, but it's nice and romantic to walk across the kissing bridge. Right, honey?
This is our kissing bridge.
Yes. So the water used to, as you know, used to run through here. Was it running through here when you were here?
Yes, it was.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're the first person I ever met that witnessed the water running through here. What was it like? Was it running through?
We ran through here, and actually it went in the bottom floor of this building. It used to be underneath the floor.
Was there a wheel there?
When
It's still.
Contramatics moved in there, we had put
Wooden floor over the top of the
trough?
water, where the water
Wow.
was running, yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Incredible. So yeah, actually, my son, when he was like 14, ran the Bobcat that excavated all this here.
Really?
Yeah, him and Will Ostrom did the excavation work here. All those years on the joystick, on the playing computer games, paid off when he got on the heavy equipment. He was like a natural. So this is the original 1814 floors. This is original. Yep, it's completely restored. It was black. You couldn't even tell it was wood when we got here. And this stair tower to your right wasn't here. This whole half of the building had collapsed. The foundation had failed on the backside where the water ran through. So we had to jack up the building on 20-ton jacks and remove the foundation on the backside, including all the masonry work, and rebuild the foundation and put new beams down and place it back on the foundation. But so did you have, this was part of your operation at one point?
We didn't have this portion of it, no.
No?
This was pretty much empty when we were here. The other side of this now, and I don't know if you're over there, beyond this wall here.
The brick building?
The brick building, right. Above that, we used to have the offices used to be above that.
Oh, okay.
The second floor.
Okay, excellent. That's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
It was. It needs a lot of work now. We're trying to come up with the funding to put a new
Redoing
roof
it,
on it.
yeah.
Yes. So we'll take a walk through. This is now the third floor sales showroom of Kaplan Cycles and the New England Motorcycle Museum. All these bikes to your right here are actually listed for sale on eBay right now.
Okay.
And all the bikes on the left-hand side across the wall there, that's our sold inventory. And then these other bikes in the middle are a combination of display bikes and bikes that are for sale.
Is that the old elevator?
Yeah.
That's the original freight
Okay,
elevator.
then I'm mistaken, then. We used to come up through here, this staircase, this used to be the main offices.
Oh, okay.
For Contramatics.
Yep.
From here down.
I bet you haven't seen
We
this.
used to come up through the staircase.
You haven't seen the staircase since the 70s. It's been completely restored. It probably didn't look this nice when you were here, right?
No.
This is their,
Kind of rickety.
yeah, they were actually kind of sketchy to even walk through it back then, so it's come a long ways. We actually rebuilt the original, this is the original inserts for the wood doors. My construction guys, these are 2.5 thick mahogany doors. We built these on site and put the original center of the doors here at the request of the State Historic Parks officer. We retained all the fabric of the building that was salvageable. On this stair tower, it was less than 5%, I would say. Most of the wood was completely rotten. But we did salvage the stairs and any of the timbers that were salvageable. These are the original stairs. These are the stairs you walked up 40 years ago. Do they look familiar?
Yes, they do.
Just a little
Better condition.
shinier now, right?
They were pretty rough shape.
So this is the second floor, which is now home of the New England Motorcycle Museum and Kaplan Cycles. It's locked there all the time to keep the bad guys out. Careful. So what is your recollection of this space? What was this like?
I'm just trying to think now. We still had part of this here. This was still part of our office area. I think the accounting and everything and finances were in this area here.
That makes sense. There was some drop ceiling and some individual offices in here in this area.
Yeah.
That I remember when we got here. We gutted it all right down to the original. This is the original floor plan, other than the stair tower and bathrooms being added on that end.
Now, the flooring, you must have redone the flooring and everything.
Yeah, actually, we were able to retain 100% original flooring, but about 25% of this floor was salvaged from the fourth floor. We took 5,000 square foot off the fourth floor and used it to rebuild the second and third floor because for maybe 30 years, the roofs were breached and water was running through the building. So you could drop something from the fourth floor and have it end up on the first floor. In a couple different spots, the floor had been completely failed, including the stair tower that was basically condemned. So we salvaged all original lumber and rebuilt the flooring underneath it and put the original flooring down. So it looks 100% original, and it is original thank you. It's original fabric. You can see this 70 mark right here and the 80, 90, 100 foot mark. This is where they sold the cloth out of the mills that your mom used to repair. They would have it on big rolls and they'd roll it out. That's quite ironic that it survived the Contramatics office days.
All them years.
What Contramatics did is they put down 2 layers of plywood glued and screwed to the floor and then put carpeting on top of it. And when we came here, the carpeting was already gone, but the plywood was here. So it took a team of my construction guys and myself ripping off the 2 layers of glued and screwed plywood, which took several weeks for a team of guys. It was a disaster. It was a lot of work. We weren't sure the floors could be salvaged until we got started, but we were able to salvage them. It was quite a bit of labor, though.
Wow.
But this is original. Thanks. These original rock maple floors. You can see how that most of the flooring is on a 45-degree angle, like it was above here. And then there's a center channel that they used to run the machines down that would roll nicer with the wood going this way. So anywhere you see the angle not matching, that's a spot that was taken out and replaced, which most of this was reinstated on an angle, but not the same exact angle. You can see this section right here is been completely replaced in some other areas. But like I said, we tried to retain any original fabric we could, honoring the 205-year-old building and its historic heritage.
Beautiful shape.
So it was the walls. We kept the original colors. We did not paint the walls at all. The trim is all new. The windows is actually new paint, but the original trim. The windows in some of the window trim all of the windows are new. There's 287 windows in here, and they're exact reproductions of the original windows, which is a whole nother story. But they're very expensive because they're wood on the inside and in the outside. They averaged about $1,200 each. And if you look at the window sills, if you look down the window sills, you can see that some of them are not quite straight. So we had brand new square windows that we had to fit into holes that weren't quite straight. Some of them are more pronounced than others. Like that one right there, you can see is, Kenny, that's a good one to zoom in on. So you have a perfectly straight window. In order to make it fit in there, they had to be installed 3 times, scribed, cut, and then eventually re-dado the bottom to put the trim in, and then the weather stripping, and then priming and painting it. So it was definitely a labor of love restoring this building, because it costs me a lot more to do it than it's worth now. But it's something that can't be replaced. And having you here today, Ross, going over the history from the 50s until now is just awesome. And Christie's heritage with the 4 generations of Steiger women in this building, pretty remarkable. So you are the only 4 generations connection that we've had to the building, which is pretty fantastic.
Wow, that's pretty cool,
Did you have to put a whole new elevator in? Did you?
No, matter of fact, I'll show you this. This is the original elevator. We were able to restore this to certified state elevator inspectors standards, which I have no idea how much money this cost me. I don't really want to know.
Go down.
Oh, it's up? I have no idea how much this cost. It was very expensive. Just the masonry work alone, and the windows. The original elevator shaft is 100% intact, as is the original elevator. Just everything's been restored. Watch, do you know where the light switch is downstairs? Watch, do you know where the light switch is downstairs? It says elevator lights. Can you turn that on, please?
Okay, we used to haul a lot of freight up and down.
We still do, every day. Come on in, we'll go for a
When we first
little
came in
run.
here, when we first come in here, it wasn't electric, what we used to have to do.
Downstairs, you gotta come in.
You gonna come in?
The stairs? I can't.
You know,
She don't do
Yeah, those
elevators.
stairs, I think those
She
stairs.
doesn't do elevators.
I think those stairs, yeah.
actually, we're not sure what floor we're going to, so you're probably better off staying right there for now. I would stay right where you are. Otherwise, we might lose you.
When
So,
we first came into this building, it wasn't electric.
okay.
We used to have to pull on a rope.
So when you came in, this elevator was rope powered?
Rope powered. You pull on a rope and it would catch on the pulley and then the motor would take over for you.
So it was an
And
electric,
if you want to go up, you pull it the opposite way to go down. There's
so
no switches.
rope powered elevators with no
Rope powered,
switches?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is the third floor behind us. This elevator serves 4 floors on the concrete building and 4 floors on the other building there. We restored all the woodwork, and you can see we painted quite a bit of it. But we left the original brick as original as possible. I don't have the key to these locks for the 4th floor. I believe it is locked. Oh, or is it open? No, it's locked. Otherwise, I'd take you in there. I'll have to go through another way. But you can see, this is,
We're coming back.
we'll be right back. Kenny, come here for a second. You can actually videotape or view the ceiling of the shaft, which we painted gold about 4 years ago.
Wow.
It's held up pretty well. Some of the bricks, like see the gold work on these bricks right
Do
here?
a lot of masonry?
Oh, those are ridiculous. The masons were in here for the entire winter, repointing this entire shaft. And some of the bricks, we did a little detail work on the bricks. Some were painted this is gold color, and most were left 100% original, but we want to make it kind of special. So our company colors are black and gold. Every piece of metal on the entire building, from the 4th floor down to the basement, was restored and painted black
Yeah,
or
I
gold.
noticed that, yeah.
So I had a painter come in here the other day whose paints down in Greenwich doing restorations, and he fell in love with the building. He lives locally. He wants to come on board and help us do the work.
Oh, yeah?
He was really impressed with the quality of the restoration. This floor here, this is the 4th floor.
Yeah.
This has not been fully restored yet cosmetically, but mechanically it's done. Or structurally it's done. The windows, these are the original. You can see the leaded glass. Kenny, can you zoom in on the leaded glass? You can see how it's wavy. That's original leaded glass from 1814. The windows, it took us several months with a team of guys to restore all these windows up. We did it over the course of the winter about 5 or 6 years ago. Kenny, when you're done viewing that, down this end here, you can see the flooring that is gone here. That's the original flooring we salvaged to fix the 2nd and 3rd floor,
the
because
second floor,
you can't buy this lumber. Kenny, take a look at the end cut here. This is what's called, this was 5/4, which is, we sanded a lot. Come down here, Kenny. You gotta look at the end. This is 5/4, so if they don't make lumber this thick, especially in rock maple anymore. It'd be obscenely expensive. These have been sanded. This is 205 years of wear, and it's been sanded down, so it was probably 1/4 inch thicker than this. They're extremely thick, and they're kind of like petrified now. They're very, very, very hard wood. It's remarkable that it survived in a factory for 200 years.
Yeah.
So this is,
Amazing.
you can see the cutouts on the beams. Back when they had, when it was all water powered, they had some machinery that ran through. I don't know if that was part of the loom.
Pulleys, yeah.
So what was this like when you were here?
This here, it was just, nothing was really up here. We never used this portion of it, the top floor.
Christy,
It's
was
pretty
there,
much empty.
were you guys ever up here when you were here?
Nah, they just come over here and just poke around.
I bet your grandmother was up here.
She probably was. She probably.
There's a book being written about the restoration of the mill, and it's called it's called From Loom to Vroom, but there's a character in there called the Lady of the Looms, who is kind of like the spirit that is still here. I can't say too much because I'll ruin the punchline on the book, but I actually saw her the other night, so usually the hair stands up on my arms. We are having a haunted mill walk here next Halloween, so you definitely want to stay tuned. So, yeah, it's there's a lot of history here. There's a lot of souls have been in this building, including 4 generations of Christy's family and her dad. So we're still working on this floor cosmetically.
Yeah.
We're going to refinish these floors, and we have some sheetrocking to do in there. Eventually, a bathroom. You can see it's plumbed out for a bathroom.
yeah.
We'll put a bathroom on this floor, refinish the flooring, and put lighting in. And this will be usable as much as the other floors are, probably for motorcycle storage.
Motorcycles, yeah.
So it's perfect. It's perfect for what we do. So let's head back down. All of the graphics in the building were done by Christy, including these floors here.
Oh, really?
She actually purchased a roll of this gold, so she has it in stock for me. She does all of our t-shirts too, including the one I'm wearing. So, very talented young lady. So, you want to do the honors? You want to press the down button? I asked Bosch to go turn the light on downstairs. He doesn't really understand things too well. He doesn't quite get it. But in any event, I asked him to turn the lights on. Sorry, he didn't quite understand that. But there are lights in here. That's the 3rd floor, which we've already been through that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which floor did you work on the most when it was Contramatics?
We were pretty much over in the cement building.
Yeah.
Which was your main? Did you have a main floor that you worked on? Let's go to one more. I'll show you the first floor also.
Oh, that's where Amber's never seen that.
You've never seen the first floor?
No.
No.
That's where the restaurant, bar, and microbrewery that we're working on is going.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Sandra.
Boy, Sandra, does she want to come with us?
Yeah, she might want to come with us.
I thought she didn't want to ride in the elevator.
Oh, yeah, she won't ride in the elevator.
She won't ride.
So this is the first floor, which is ground level to West Main Street,
Okay.
and this is 10,000 square foot, but it has a 2,000 square foot. When you want to turn the elevator lights on, see it says elevator lights right here, LTS. Just go like this. Now there's lights. And if you want to shut the elevator off, you press down on both those, elevator and lights. Okay. This floor is mechanically pretty much done, other than the flooring. And structurally, it's done. It's got new heaters, new windows, all the structural work. You see the new pillions and all the new beam supports. So it's mechanically done. Cosmetically, it hasn't been refinished because we're trying to figure out what the final finishes will be, the colors. And restaurants going on the far end, bars going right here, microbreweries going down there. And there'll be a 3,000 square foot building attached to the back and the 2001 on the front. So it'll be a 15,000 square foot space for large events, weddings, whatever, just parties, whatever, big motorcycle events. Wow. So that's pretty much it for this building. I'd like to go into where you worked. It looks a lot different now. It's used for storage, but I'd like to show it to you.
Yeah.
Christie's campus where
It's still there.
isn't the sign still on the door?
Yeah,
Is that on the
it is.
2nd floor?
Yeah.
We got to go there. We got to go check that out.
I think
So-
that's the last time you were in, when I took you in there and you
S-
said,
We're actually fasting right now till 3 o'clock for spiritual reasons. So Junior's starving and cranky. So we're going to try to expedite this. Look, he's really cranky, not happy. So, what was I talking about a second ago? What were we talking about?
Amount of sales.
Oh, the amount of sales. Yeah, we currently sell around, we have a staff of 12 that work here, full-time, restoring motorcycles. We're selling about 50 bikes a month. We do not buy bikes to put in the museum anymore because both floors are almost full, and a lot of these bikes are for sale either by private owners or by us. So if you have a bike to sell and you want it to stay in the museum, our benefactors do buy them sometimes and put them in here. But the bikes that are donated to the museum with the request to stay here, like this black and silver Suzuki over here, that's a museum bike. The black and silver Honda is a museum bike that was donated that we restored and promised the family we'd never sell it. So we are a motorcycle museum, but we are Kaplan Cycles is a buy-sell trade company.
Okay.
We sell most of our bikes on eBay all over the world. Of the 1,500 motorcycles we've sold in the last 4 years, less than 5 of them were sold in Connecticut. Most of them are sold south of the Mason-Dixon line. That's where all the collectors are with all the money, down in Florida, California, Mexico, Texas. A lot of them go to Japan. Specific bikes go to Japan. The UK is buying up all our 3-cylinder 2-strokes right now for some reason. They're bidding high on those. So we have a worldwide clientele that we ship to right here from Rockville. So it's very much an international business. Our goal is to grow it to 10 million. So we've got a long way to get there. So we're trying to hire staff and train staff that knows how to both restore bikes and is intelligent enough to buy them and understand what the issues are and what they're worth. And that's and find new homes for all of them. That's a difficult, tall order.
Yes,
So
it is.
without further ado, let's go back to the place where you
Okay.
used to work. So you're up, where do you live now?
Aiken, South Carolina.
South Carolina. That's beautiful down there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How'd you end up in South Carolina?
Well, we really just wanted to get away from the snow. We were in New Hampshire,
I hear you.
so we left New Hampshire and headed for the south.
That's the third floor. You worked primarily on the third or the second floor?
Second, third.
Second, third. Your office was in the third, right?
Second.
Second. All right, so we'll check out the third first. This stair tower is quite unique. Has this changed much since?
No.
This looks pretty much the same?
Pretty much the same, yeah.
This is the third floor where you used to work 50 years ago.
It's cool. Dealing with a lot of lead paint.
Lead paint everywhere. These chips here, do not eat the chips. Don't lick the paint. This is lead paint right here with arsenic in it. We've had it tested by OSHA. It is lead and arsenic. So,
No licking of the pillars.
yeah, no, licking of the pillars is largely discouraged. The ventilation is courtesy of broken windows. So this space has largely been vacant for a long time. Oh, this is awesome. Christy, come here.
Yeah, the campus where.
This was, what year did you work here, honey?
Oh, it was like 90,
So 20,
94 through 2001.
so that was 25 years ago, you started working here. And this campus square logo right here, Wellington, Connecticut. That was your old logo, right?
Yeah, that was our old
Did you
logo.
design the logo?
We modified it. We started it. Mitch and I were working on it, and Brian had a hand in it, and it was a compilation of all of us. They wanted it to look like a stamp,
Okay.
an old stamp.
Pretty fantastic. Was this watch your step coming across here. Was this your office over here, or what was in here?
Like this with black walls. This is the dark room.
This is the dark room?
Yep. This is for the screens. Yep.
So-
For coating the screens. This is the dark room.
Wow. Just fantastic. So, has this changed much since you were here?
No.
It pretty much looks the same. Was the paint peeling as badly? as
It pretty much was. It still looks
No, it
the
wasn't.
same. It was pretty bad.
It was fine. So,
And that was the art department. Art
so this is the third floor.
hanging out in there.
So you were on the third floor, honey.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Time ago. Where did your grandmother work? This building, was this?
She was down on the bottom floor. She said she used to do time cards right on the very bottom, right to the right.
Wow. So your grandmother worked here doing time cards back in the day?
Yeah, yep.
How many time cards did she handle?
I have no idea. Probably a lot.
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Many.
Hey, if it's a full-time job, just to count the time cards. There's a lot of time cards.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they must have had a taekwondo studio here at one point too.
Yeah.
Was there a taekwondo?
No, this is like, actually, we used to print for them. That's an old sticker that we
Did you put that?
printed.
Did you put that sticker there,
No,
Christy?
probably Brian.
Brian? He's the artistic, crazy one.
Brian was head pressman and also did some of the artwork, but he was the co-owner of Campus Wear. Mitch Tower and Brian Marchand owned Campus Wear back then.
So Amber, what do you think of all this? Your grandmother worked here?
It's kind of crazy to see it all. I've never been over here, so
Was it your great-grandmother that worked here too?
great. Yeah, because grandma
Great-grandmother.
worked here, right?
So
Yeah, okay. I just make sure I got it right. Yeah,
And you've worked here also.
yeah, true. I guess.
What did you do when you worked here?
I ran errands for you, and I helped with Rocktoberfest.
You did, and you sold tickets.
I did.
Thousands of them, didn't you?
Thousands, yeah.
You and your mom are awesome. She has her grandpa's work ethic too. She's quite the worker. So, and her mom's work ethic, she learned from. It's the Steiger way.
The Steiger way.
Now Santa's brother actually owned a business at the end of down here.
Whose brother?
Santa's brother.
Your brother worked here also?
Well, at the end of this, where you have all the murals painted out in front?
Yes.
At the end of that building, there was a little building at the end down there.
Is it still there?
I don't know if it's still
It
there or
is.
not.
Yeah, that's our detail shop now. Yeah.
Her brother he was a contractor, used to be TNS Contractors.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, he's told me that he even built your computer place, your building, or did some work in there, remodeling it or
Electrical work?
something
Oh, no kidding,
way
yeah.
back.
Yeah, 25 years
Was
ago
that
probably.
Manchester?
Yeah. We're all somehow related.
Was that Manchester?
Yes.
Yeah.
Manchester. People think it's Vernon, but it's right on the Manchester-Vernon line. So, all right. Well, let's get out of here. It's kind of cold in here and creepy. This is lead paint. Tastes like lead. This is very deadly.
Very deadly. Stop ingesting it. No snacks for
It
you.
probably blows out of here right into our air every time the wind whistles through here. We're locked in here. We're probably gonna die in here. We'll have to send some smoke signals out and be rescued by the Vernon Fire Department.
If you see this, do not come knocking.
Hopefully the chief won't watch this video and see us in this building. We're not supposed to be in here. It's all part of a documentary, folks.
All part of the
No one was injured in this video.
You have to put all new sprinkler systems?
Oh my God, that's a sore subject. Did we have to put all new sprinkler systems? Oh boy, my blood pressure just went up 20 points. We spent about $350,000 on the sprinkler systems here. And I figured if you're going to spend $350,000, you might as well paint them nice. So we painted the entire sprinkler system. I've had people say it's the nicest sprinkler system they've ever seen. Check this out. Look at how nice this thing is. We even put a Harley Davidson firefighter sign up behind the fire system and decorated it a little bit. You know, figured if you're going to spend almost $500,000 on a sprinkler system, might as well make it pretty. So. Yeah, it was, we installed the entire sprinkler system in here, and it was approved by the building inspector and the engineer, and it was to code. And then the town fire marshal decided he'd have the state fire marshal take a look and see what he thinks. So the state fire marshal is God, and he did not approve the system as installed, and he wanted a whole nother stair tower, which is no small task on a 5-story, 205-year-old building. So we had to rip out the entire sprinkler system on 4 floors and the electrical and the plumbing and completely redo it to the tune of over $250,000. It set us back about 18 months. It did meet these stairwells that we went up were grandfathered in. He felt they weren't safe, so he wanted a new one, so he got it. And we were held up a couple of years and $250,000 getting it done, but it's now to code. So when it was done to the state fire marshal standard, the town fire marshal came in and found 8 other things that he didn't like. So those 8 things we corrected, and he came in about a month later, inspected it, and wouldn't you know, he found 7 other things he didn't like. So at that point, I was just thinking, apparently nobody wants this building to ever open until I'm dead and gone. So I was kind of losing faith. So I did those 7 things, and he came in and approved it. I was like, wow, okay.
Finally, huh?
That was the 4th try was a charm. So. Everything is to code. We've been told this is now the safest building in the town because it's been scrutinized by 7 different building officials. In the 7.5 years I worked on it, the town had a new building official every year, much to my chagrin, because each building official lost all of the plans. They cost me $300 each set, so I spent $2,100 just on building plans. Because I don't know how they lose them, but it's a big plan. But each building official requested a new set of plans, which we did. And we've been through 2 fire marshals and 2 mayors. Thankfully, the current mayor is awesome. So Dan Champagne, he's a big part of the success here. He helped us get a grant from the state to finish the building because we ran out of money like 4 times. So we're about 3 years behind schedule and $2.5 million over budget. So it's been an expensive, time-consuming, stressful project. But when we bought this mill, the mill, we did a tax lien foreclosure on the previous owner because they hadn't paid the taxes in a dozen years, and it was on the town's list of redeveloped spots to be redeveloped. So we purchased the tax lien and made a deal with the previous owner to purchase it. And we got this side of the road, and we also purchased that side of the road, about 1.5 acres. And after we closed on that, it took me about 1.5 years, but I purchased the house on the hill, which was owned by the Vernon Historical Society owned it. It was gifted to them by the previous owner, and they had put I don't think the previous owner planned on them selling it, but they put it up for sale, and thankfully I bought it because it would have been turned into probably a lot of slumlords in the area that buy houses and cut them up into 8 apartments and don't maintain them, mow the lawns or really care for them. So thankfully we didn't want that to happen, so we bought that and completely restored it. Wow. The inside of it's Taj Mahal. The outside we haven't done yet, but this hillside here was completely overgrown and dead trees. We've landscaped. It's like a park up there. We mow the grass up there. Yeah. There's a fire pit up there. There's also a mini bike track up there. Wow. We have a mini bike track behind here. We host the New England Mini Track Racing Series here. Was showing it to us. So we've got some great races. So we have a lot of plans for the future here with the restaurant, bar, microbrewery. This will also be the site of the first and only in the country motorcycle only drive-in theater. Or ride-in theater. So yeah, it's gonna be a ride-in theater behind here. So we're working on that. Got a bunch of things we got to get done before we get there, but we do bike nights here. We had a battle of the bands with 11 bands over 2 days. So thank you, Ross, for sharing the history of the building with us, and Christy. Yeah, it's awesome. I was looking forward to this, and now we know a little bit more about it, and our fans on YouTube.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Better get something to eat.
Is there any
Nice meeting you too.
in closing, Ross? Are there any closing remarks you'd like to say? What do you think of the place? What we've done with it?
It's just amazing the change. I mean, after we moved out, the building was pretty much deteriorating over time, and
Sure.
at times I used to ride by it when going through Rockville and looking at the building, saying, "Boy, that thing is just eventually going to crumble." So it's good to see someone like you that came through and rebuilt it and brought it to where it is today. It's just amazing.
Thanks, Ross. Appreciate
Just
that.
amazing. You did a lot of hard work here, that's for sure.
Definitely a labor of love, clearly. Certainly wasn't to make a buck, because I got a lot more into it than it's worth. Christy, any closing remarks? You're the third of 4 generations of Steiger women that worked here.
Thank you for preserving all our memories.
Aw, thanks, honey.
You did an amazing job.
Thanks, baby.
You saved a
Appreciate it.
very big piece of history in this town.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Maybe there'll be a 5th generation of Steiger women that come through here eventually. Is there anything you'd like to add, Amber, about the
I mean,
place?
it looks amazing. I never saw it before, but I can only imagine.
How's it feel to know that 3 generations before you're the 4th generation of Steiger women, and your grandfather worked here? What does that feel like?
It's kind of crazy. I was talking about it the other day with some of my friends. I was like, my grandpa worked here, my grandmother worked here, my great grandmother worked here, my mom worked here. Now you have it. It's just crazy to think it all just kind of
Came full circle.
yeah.
Pretty fantastic.
So, yeah, but it looks great, and you did a great job.
So the restoration, I've often thought of this. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this. It's very much a gift to the town, the state, and also to future generations that can see what buildings were like back in the day. When the building was done, I remember standing on the 2nd floor going, wow, I had this feeling I've never been in a building like this, because they don't exist. This is the last. There were 13 of these in town. They're all gone. So this will be handed down to my kids. Kenny will take it over when I drop dead, which will hopefully be a little while from now, because I'm having a lot of fun.
A long while.
So thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for being interested in the history of the mill, and thank
you for the
sir.
tour.
Thank you.
We'll catch you next time, and God bless America.